All right, I'm gonna flush a beaver pelt here. I don't know how well this camera angle is gonna work out, but I'm gonna try to get it set up to where you can see me pretty decent and see what I'm doing, and we'll if it works out, and it works out, and that's all fine and good. But if not, then we'll just kind of maybe do another one at some point. So I'm kind of doing this because I did a beaver flushing video, but it was years ago. It was back, I think I probably had 50 subscribers instead of 5,000. And I don't know, I don't even remember much about it. I do know a guy commented on that video recently and said, your fur handling is atrocious. So that kind of hurt my feelings. He's probably right, but it kind of hurt my feelings. Yeah, I don't know. It probably is atrocious. But anyway, had some other comments. Another guy said, well, wish you would have done this, shown more using the sharp edge of the flushing knife and all that. So anyway, I thought, what the heck, I'll throw the camera on while I'm doing this guy. This belongs to a friend, so I really don't want to cut it and make a mistake. My own pelts, the fur prices the way they've been, I haven't been too worried. I go fast, or relatively fast. And if I make a hole in it, you know, it is what it is, but I'm gonna try not to screw this one up. So anyway, I got my little apron on, I got my Necker 600, and I got my flushing beam, and we're gonna get to it. See if you can see that okay. I think you can. All right, so looks like you're skinning this pretty rough. There's a lot on here. I usually like to start somewhere in the middle, and this beaver is big, old, gristly, so it's going to require sharp cutting with the sharp edge quite a bit. So that's how I'm going to start. Open up down to the white. And I'm probably going to have to cut a lot of this beaver with the sharp edge. So I have a thin board. I thawed this out of the freezer, so I made sure that it didn't have any frozen spots. If you have a frozen spot or two in the pelt and you hit it with this, it will cut because it's not flexible when it's frozen. So with this narrow board, you have a little less surface area to work on, so you take a little bit of, maybe a bit of a narrower strip, but not much. This can stay. That's just like some, I don't know what that is, cartilage, whatever. I make another strip. As you get down, you want to be careful not to work too far away from your beginning point, because the fur gets more stretchy and you have potential for it to bunch up and to make holes. So I don't go, especially with somebody else's fur, I don't try to go too far. Now here, what I can do, you can do this a whole different variety of ways, but I get this middle part opened up, and I think I'm going to go to the sides. I'm going to do the belly part here because that's pretty easy. Get that out of the way first. And this, usually you could just push this stuff because it's not thick and gristly. There's a lot of meat toward the center, and you get to the outer edge and it's all fat. So just push it with the dull part of the flushing knife. A little piece of fat there. That's pretty nice, pretty slick. I do have a rag. Always want to have a couple of rags, just old t-shirts I use to keep my knife clean. I'll hang it right there so I can get at it easy. I'm going to move over just a little bit and do the same thing from the center out to the outer edge. Looks like that beaver had a cut that's healed over. Hopefully I don't open that up. Doesn't look like it will. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the other side, do the same thing. Just because I know that's easy location to just push. Get underneath that meat, get into that. Boom, 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 boom. going out toward the front of the body a little bit, and you can tell that, or I can tell, you start getting into a little bit tougher area on the pelt. Clean that up. Okay, so now you can go different ways. I don't know how I want to do this. I think I'm going to go toward the back, toward the tail. So this is the tail. This is all thick, hard, tough gristle. I think I'm going to work my way toward there. Push what I can. This, you're right kind of on the edge of the tough stuff, so I'm going to try to get the easy fat out of the way. Now, there's a few things you got to watch out for here. As you get toward the legs, especially if you're cutting with the sharp edge, you got to be careful around there because you can put holes in them and make that area around the leg have a much bigger hole than it naturally has. So I try to get the easy loose fat out from around the leg hole. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and put the leg hole at the top of the beam. I'm going to put it right through the nose of the beam. I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can. And then it's the area I just scraped. I'm not a professional fur handler. There's a bunch of stuff on YouTube that you can find professional fur handlers doing stuff. So watch their videos, not this one. But I don't know, maybe you'll find this interesting, whatever. Doesn't cost me much to put it up there, so. Okay, I'm gonna spin that. Now I'm in tough stuff, okay? So here, the area on one of the back leg, I'm gonna have to use my sharp blade, sharp side of my fleshing knife. Just skin that out, just kind of shave that. And I don't know how many holes I put in pelts before I learned how to get the angle and the pressure correct on these fleshing knives, but that's why I stick with this Necker 600, just because I know it. I've kind of figured it out to an extent where I don't make as many mistakes. So, you know, I want to stick with that. Oh, I opened that up a little bit. I stretched that. You gotta watch that. I stretched that leg hole out a little bit. Okay, that's probably enough on that side. I'm gonna go on this side and I'm gonna work around this leg hole again. Try not to push too hard and open that up at all. I know here, especially there, this shouldn't be too bad. It's like another maybe scar the beaver had. Okay, and we're back in the center, and we're going to just kind of work the rest of this down. Pull up here and get closer so that we're not extending too far out. Take a risk of having a loose pelt to make a cut in. Okay, get that off. This is just a big bunch of stuff. I'm just going to kind of reduce the volume here that we have to deal with, so then I can do a little more fine tuning. Okay. The other thing is these fleshing knives, that sharp edge only stays sharp so long it needs resharpening. And I've had pretty good luck with this knife. I know other people have had not as good luck. But you gotta also adjust your pressure and how you operate based on how sharp the knife is. So you gotta be careful when you freshly sharpen it. Looks like my buddy got a little close when he skinned it, so I can blame him if I put a hole right there. I think we'll be all right. So the sharp side now. We always want the lower end to be the flat side, and the angle is going to be on the top, so we can control the angle of our cut. And the angle of our cut is going to be more parallel to the pelt, not perpendicular, so don't cut a hole in it. And this is just simple shaving. Oh, don't screw it up, don't screw it up. I always hate getting down to the end by the tail. Better chance to screw things up. And I get to the edge and I just kind of try to pop those off, but that stuff, that gristle really likes to stay there. Sometimes I'll even, when I'm nailing that onto the board, I'll cut that off with my sharp knife. You notice I'm not a speed flesher by any means. There, get rid of that mess. I just work at a comfortable pace. You also notice I can't keep my mouth shut because I don't like dead air on a YouTube video or a podcast. I'll try to shut up. There, we got most of that tail area. Now we're going to go back to the leg and just grab maybe a piece that we missed here around the leg. Good. Okay. Wipe that and wipe my board a little bit so I don't make more of a mess. Let's take a look here. So looks like we have the whole lower half of this beaver is fleshed. Now we gotta do the upper half up towards the head and the front legs. It is kind of different. It's like you don't have the gristle like you have around the tail, but you have some really meaty area here, and then around the head it gets really like cartilage around the ears and the eyes and stuff. So you gotta watch it. This, I don't know what that is. Just an area that was exposed and got frozen, but I don't think it's gonna hurt anything. Freezer burn, I guess. So I just made my narrow strip, set her over, do it again. A little less pressure toward the outside. Now I'm working a little far away from the point of the beam, so I'm going to pull it in so I'm a little more comfortable. Push the fat. We're trying to get as much of the fat and meat off of this pelt as possible so it's going to dry nicely. Let's get sharp. However, you're not going to get 100% of it. You could, it would take you forever and you might cut the pelt while you're doing it. You want to get pretty close, but there's going to be a few spots you're probably not going to get it all. And that's okay, because as you dry the pelt, if drying conditions are good, you're going to notice there's going to be like some fatty areas that are still remaining, and that'll kind of melt away as it's drying. And you can kind of cut into that. You can get it with a paper towels and sawdust and whatever. And once the drying process is complete, that should all be gone. What's that? Okay, this beaver. Oh, okay, that's just the leg hole. I thought there was another hole in it. Okay, so I'm gonna go a little further, and then I'm gonna switch over to flush around that front leg. The area around the legs is really, there's some really tough cartilage there to deal with. Let's see. That's that really, really tough stuff. And see, this is a little bit there. I think it's more effort than it's worth to try to get that. It's all going to dry. It's going to be just fine. Okay, now here, I do want to, it's pretty thick. We want to scrape some of that off. Around the cheek area. Actually, a lot of that is going to get cut off anyway when we board that beaver. Slide over, we'll get the other side. And this reminds me why I didn't want to trap a couple hundred beavers this year. I just don't like handling pelts. It's a lot of labor for not a lot of money. That one is it thin? It's really thin. That wanted to rip. Okay, that pelt is really loose right there. Let me bring it up closer. Pushing, just alternating between cutting and pushing, cutting and pushing. Okay, we'll get over to the thing here. That is. There's some easy stuff here, and then there's like a really tough spot right there that stuff's got to be cut. Okay. A little more on the front leg here. It's an area that you want to pay some attention to. Okay, that's probably good. And now we'll move on to the final part of the process, of the fleshing process. You could even, you could do this first. Sometimes I do this side first too. This is the face, the head, or whatever. You're gonna want to cut. You gotta watch. You got ears, ear there, ear there. You can cut. You want to cut a portion of that ear out. like I did right there. There's eye, that, and there's the lip part, the mouth. This is all going to come off anyway. You could leave it on, but the really good guys that I've watched handle fur, that do a lot of beavers, they get rid of that. There, cut through that. And you're getting, there's cartilage, there's meat, there's not really any fat here. So, see, I'm probably going to cut there, and I'm going to cut that whole sheet. Those areas right there is all going to come off anyway on the board, but I'll leave it on for now. But yeah, this area, I mean, you got cartilage, you got meat, you don't have a lot of fat, so you don't have to worry really about fur slipping or rotting or anything. But I wouldn't spend half a day trying to get all these little pieces. That's pretty good. So that is the final product of a flesh beaver. And now we just gotta tack it onto the board. And when I board these things, that's when I pick up on a few things I might have missed on the fleshing beam, and use my sharp knife to cut those out and make it look nice and clean. But this is a nice dark beaver from northern Maine. This thing, he's gonna get it tanned. Got another one to do over here, and I think these are gonna turn out real nice.